Alabama Production.
Welcome to Check Your Shelf, the official book podcast of the Alabama Take Network. I'm your host, Jamie, and I'm here with my co-host, Jennifer. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello, Jamie.
And we are going to do part 2 of our TBR list.
Yes.
Which means
to be read. And now, a lot of these, I have lofty goals and hope to read all these in October.
I think you will.
And I might. But sometimes I get off on a tangent and totally throw my TBR out the window. So we'll see.
And you listen to most of your books, correct?
I am. I'm almost all audio. I do tandem reads where like I'll have the ebook also so that I can like read in bed.
I've never heard it called that before. I like
really?
that. Tandem reads, because that's how I read everything. It's like just back and forth,
I go back and forth. Like I like to also have the ebook handy where I can go back and forth for my job lends itself to where it's not like I'm not sitting at a desk where I'm like reading stuff. I'm making stuff.
Just in case they forgot from last time, you're a metalsmith.
I'm a metalsmith.
You make crowns and daggers.
I make crowns and daggers and jewelry. So it's muscle memory, honestly, because I make big orders for stores. And so I've made these rings 10 million times or whatever. And so I can totally get into my book listening to it while I'm just doing my thing.
Plug your website because I love your jewelry.
Oh, okay. It's Grace and Faith Designs, but the website is www.gracefaithdesigns.com. Leave out the and.
Because the holidays are coming.
Yeah, that's true. And they make for great gifts.
They really do. I've received several. And
Jamie's
favorite gifts.
Jamie's husband, I always know when I get a text from Corey that it's fixing to be something fun. And they're always so sweet.
He's really sweet. Yeah.
He is. It's very thoughtful things that he gets you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to pick back up with our list. Let me see what my last book is to make sure I'm not leaving you on a horror book note. So if you start, that means I'll end and I have an acceptable book to be our podcast sign off. So it's okay. Awesome. So you go first.
Okay. I am so excited about this book because I loved the first one. And this is an advanced reader's copy that I have. Advanced reader's copies, if listeners don't know, it's books before they come out that people, if you qualify, whatever, that you can read early and review for publishers. So the first book was Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree.
Yes, it won the Nebula Award.
Yes. Oh my word, I love it. It's such a fantastic book. It's considered cozy fantasy. It was so much fun. So this is the sequel, Bookshops and Bonedust by Travis Baldree. So I'm just gonna read the synopsis because I honestly I don't know what it's about other than what the synopsis tells me. So and these are high fantasy, all of them. When an injury throws a young battle-hungry orc off her chosen path, she may find that what we need isn't always what we seek. This is set in the same world of Legends and Lattes. And it says it takes us on a journey of high fantasy, first loves, and secondhand books. So Vivi's career with the notorious mercenary company Rackham's Ravens isn't going as planned. Wounded during the hunt for a powerful necromancer, she's packed off against her will to recuperate in the sleepy beach town of Merk, so far from the action that she worries she'll never be able to return to the action. Spending her hours at a beleaguered bookshop in the company of its foul-mouthed proprietor is the last thing she would have predicted for her life. But it may be exactly what she needs and the seeds of change that she couldn't possibly have imagined. So, I mean, it's literally like when you think of fantasy, you think of high stakes normally. You think of like the end of the world, basically. Like some young warrior is having to save everybody, save her whole village. That's how most fantasy. But the cozy fantasy genre is low stakes. So it's literally just like magical creatures living their lives, kind of. Like in the first one, in Legends and Lattes, it was an orc who no longer wanted to be part of a mercenary, she went and opened a coffee shop, and the village had never even heard of coffee, and she had to like teach them about coffee. So this is set in a bookstore. I think it's probably going to be a lot of the same vibe, just quirky magical creatures living their lives. So
I read something recently that said if you're new to cozy things and books, and you're new to fantasy, and you're new to cozy fantasy, that Travis Baldree is a great,
is fantastic
starter author, to jump into.
And he narrates his books because he's actually an award-winning narrator, and now he writes his own books, and so he narrates them, and he's so good. He does the voices and everything.
Okay,
awesome. So good.
And I think it actually, I don't know that it won the Nebula Award. I think it may have just been
it was
nominated.
A finalist, I think.
Okay,
yeah.
But there are so many science fiction books that are released every year. Like the fact that
it's cozy fantasy. Yeah. It literally someone said it felt like reading a warm hug. And that is exactly, it's just it just makes you feel good. Yeah. So
is it a good palate cleanser?
Yeah, it'd be a good, because they don't require any thought, really.
Okay.
They're not that deep. They're just fun. So at first I didn't like cozy fantasy because I read high stakes fantasy normally, and I was like, there's not enough battle. I need some dire consequences if something doesn't happen, Right. But then when I got the hang of it, I realized I really just thought it was just fun. I mean, I still read a lot of, major fantasy, but cozy fantasy is my jam.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this one. I said the ARC, but I actually have the ALC, which is Advanced Listener's Copy. So I actually have the audiobook.
Okay, cool.
Which I prefer. So I'm so excited about that.
And it's called what now?
It's called Bookshops and Bonedust by Travis Baldree, but it actually doesn't come out till November 6th.
Okay.
So listeners, I'm sorry, but I have it and you don't, and you can't listen to it till November 6th. So,
but it's good when you do get it. They'll know it's good.
I just can't even imagine how great it's going to be. I'm so excited about it.
Well, my first one, this is really, it sounds so strange, but I feel like I need to tell a smidgen of a backstory. When I was a kid, in Sunday school or in church, when they talked about leprosy, I was terrified.
You thought maybe you were going to get it?
I did not understand it. Nobody could explain it to me. It was all kinds of ways through the Bible.
Everyone had leprosy.
So, to this day, you never really hear that much about it, because it's been cured or whatever. But
right.
I still have that moment of it's leprosy. Okay.
I don't know what to say about this.
So this past July, a book came out, and I haven't read it yet, but I just discovered it. It's called King of the Armadillos by Wendy Chin Tanner. And it's her debut novel.
Armadillos carry leprosy.
Exactly. Yep. So she's published poetry before, but she's never published a novel before this one. But it's set in 1950s New York, and there is a 15-year-old who is diagnosed with leprosy. And in 1950s New York, apparently this was a big enough problem where we had a leper colony in Louisiana.
Oh.
Did you know this?
No.
It was a quarantine.
This is real?
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's actually based off of things that happened to the author's father.
Wow.
Yeah, it's inspired by his true story. So he's diagnosed with leprosy, and he has to leave his home in the Bronx to go quarantine in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's at first he's all being confined and isolated. it feels, strange and uncomfortable, but then he kind of starts building a life there. And it's his first taste of freedom, ironically, is in this quarantine, like being away from his family and everything he knew, like growing up and kind of making his own
life.
Yeah. So it's a coming of age story in a leper colony. And then also during this time, there's like this cure is on the horizon. So he's got to decide what he's going to do next when he doesn't have leprosy, because he won't have to stay in quarantine anymore. So
this is fascinating.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this book. I wish I knew where I'd even heard of this one, but I read so many reviews of it. I just read a review of it, but it's called King of the Armadillos. I'm saying that so Southern. The Armadillos. King of the Armadillos by Wendy Chin Tanner.
We are Southern.
We are.
Yeah.
What's your next one?
Okay. So my next one is actually one we kind of touched on in part 1. That was a book of the month selection, because I actually have the ALC for this one as well, advanced listeners copy. And this is why I didn't get it for book of the month, because I already have it.
Okay.
Starling House.
Oh, cool.
By Alix Harrow. And I think this one is just a very, very fun for Halloween. I wish it came out for the general public before. It comes out October 30th, but I feel like it would be a really great vibe for the whole month of October. But I'm sure they did that on purpose to be right at Halloween. So it's a gothic tale from the author Alix Harrow about a small town haunted by secrets that can't stay buried and the sinister house that sits at the crossroads of it all. So, I mean, there's a haunted house in it. And I think it's going to be a lot of, maybe I'm wrong, but I think there's going to be like a Boo Radley situation with this haunted house. And I think it's going to be great. I'm very excited about listening to it. And this author, I have not read anything by this author, but I think her books are very popular. I think people love her books, so I expect fully to enjoy it.
And it's Starling House?
Starling House by Alix Harrow.
Alix Harrow. Okay.
Isn't that what, did you not put that in your book of the month box?
That's my second choice.
Oh, you haven't decided yet.
I got to do a deep dive, do some more research.
I think it sounds so good.
Yeah.
A perfect Halloween spooky vibe book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't do spooky vibes, so I'm hoping it's not too scary.
Speaking of spooky vibes, my next book, I don't even ever want you to Google it, because I think if you see the cover of it, like, it is the most un-Jennifer friendly cover I've ever seen. There's like an eyeball and teeth and somebody licking an eyeball. Like, it's horrible.
I need like rainbows and butterflies.
Yeah, this is not it. It's called Maeve Fly by C.J. Leede, and it came out in June. It's their debut novel, and it's about a woman who works at Disneyland. She's a princess, and that's what she does during the day. And then at night, she goes to bars on the Sunset Strip and like imitates her favorite like literary characters, and they're like not Disney princesses. It's like darker characters. Yeah, like scarier stuff. Oh. Yeah. And then her best friend's brother comes to town, and things just get really just crazy.
Well, there's an eyeball on the cover.
There's an eyeball on the cover. And then they said, like, I keep seeing it. It's like seeing where they're comparing the main character to Patrick Bateman from American Psycho, which I expect you to know zero.
I know the name.
But yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, it's yeah. So it's like a female version kind of American Psycho.
This sounds so you. I don't know. I'm going to rephrase this. This sounds really like something you would like.
Yeah. It's so weird. It is so weird. And the cover, actually, there's so much going on. It's almost off-putting. But then when I read the description and how she's living one life professionally during the day and then going
a princess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So that's Maeve, Maeve Fly by C.J. Leede.
Oh my goodness, that sounds like something. Okay. So my next one, I love, speaking of fantasies with high stakes, Jennifer Armentrout So
Yes.
I love Jennifer Armentrout. And her books are just, there are some major world building that happens in them. But this is a brand new series. She's written for the last few years. She's basically just been writing this other series that's unfinished, but she decides to start a new series, whatever,
Sounds like
JLA.
something I could understand.
Sounds like a George R.R. Martin situation or something. But it's called Fall of Ruin and Wrath. And I'm so excited to read it. I will give the warning to anyone. It is based on books that I've read by her in the past. It is going to be pretty spicy.
Okay.
So you've been warned about that. And in fact, I think someone said this might be more than usual. I don't know what that means. I don't know what I'm getting into. I don't know what I'm getting into, but I know it's a monster romance.
Okay.
I do know that.
Okay.
And that's a first for me.
Is it?
When I mean, it's fantasy, obviously, and it's gonna be, but hers are more like the term romantasy.
Yeah.
So the romance is gonna play a major part in them being able to defeat. Usually, it's like a fated mates situation where only their union as a married couple can save the world, or So I'm just guessing, honestly, because I haven't read it. But it says, long ago the world was destroyed by gods. Only 9 cities were spared. Separated by vast wilderness teeming with monsters and dangers, each city is now ruled by a guardian. Royalty who feed on mortal pleasure. Born with an intuition that never fails, Callista knows her talents are of great value to the power hungry of the world. So she lives hidden as a courtesan of the Baron of Archwood. In exchange for his protection, she grants him information. When her intuition leads her to save a traveling prince in dire trouble, the voice inside her blazes with warning. Today he'll bring her joy, and one day he'll be her doom. So as with all of her books, I'm assuming that this prince, whatever, is going to be her love interest, and what she typically with fantasy, what you think you know isn't really what you know, and he's going to be something he's not. But also apparently he's a monster. But these are going to be high stakes, so that means there's going to be there's going to be like battle and fighting. It's going to be saving the world.
Yeah.
Saving at least her world she lives in.
That sounds really good.
Well, I hope. I haven't read anything I didn't like by her.
What else has she written? I'm trying to...
From Blood and Ash is the series that I love. And that's the series I've made my dagger for.
Oh, okay.
And then there's the spinoff.
Okay.
And it is a Fire and Flesh series, and it's like the prequel to From Blood and Ash.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I love that series so much. There's like gods and goddesses, and I just would love to be in her brain.
I knew I would recognize these covers. I
Yes.
just needed to put eyes on them.
And side note, this author kind of also amazes me that she has a degenerative eye condition, and she will eventually go blind. And so she's trying very hard to get everything written that ever pops into her head before she goes blind. I know.
Oh.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So I love her. I love her books. So Jennifer Armentrout, Fall of Ruin and Wrath. It's a new series, even though she hasn't finished the previous series.
And Jennifer's not holding that against her.
And I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Okay.
So my next book is nonfiction, and it is called Round Here and Over Yonder, a front porch travel guide by 2 progressive hillbillies by Trae Crowder and Corey Ryan Forrester. Are you familiar with it?
What fun will that be? Oh, my goodness.
So they are 2/3 of the Well Read podcast. And I'm a huge fan of Corey Ryan Forrester because my husband shared the Putting on Airs podcast with me when you and I were in the rows of our House of the Dragon obsession.
Yes.
Because he was breaking down the episodes with his sister, and they were so funny. Like, and you could tell like they knew what they were talking about. It was really well researched, but it was also hilarious because, everything is from this like, it's got this southern, they talk like we talk.
They talk like us, but then they're talking about the Targaryens and the dragons and the...
Yeah.
I want to go listen.
So this is just, from what I understand, it's just them traveling the country and like collecting stories and, it's like their interactions with people on the road.
Oh, my word.
So I am super excited, and I will have this both in print and
tandem read.
Audio. Tandem read, 100%. Yeah.
God, that sounds good.
Yeah. And it's called Round Here and Over Yonder, a front porch travel guide by two progressive hillbillies by Trae Crowder and Corey Ron Forrester. And it's coming out very soon. If it's not already out, it's coming out in the next week or two, I think. So be on the lookout for that.
Oh, that sounds good. Okay, so this next one, let me make sure I know it. So y'all, this is a big change for me from what I've been talking about, but I find it very interesting. I used to read almost only historical fiction. Several years ago. It was like all I read was historical fiction. So it's 19 Steps by Millie Bobby Brown. That's the little girl, from Stranger Things and Enola Holmes. So this is based off of her family's history. It's based off a true story. I think it's her grandmother. It's a captivating novel inspired by the true events of her family's experience during World War II. My inner history-loving teenage geek clapped her hands in ecstasy at the thought of oh, that's a review. Okay, never mind. That was Kate Quinn's review of it. Okay, here we go. Oh, what I find fascinating about this is that this little girl had time to write a novel when she's Stranger Things and she's doing all these other things, but she wrote...
she's marrying John Bon Jovi's son.
No, I did not know that.
Yes, they've been engaged for a while. They're getting married soon.
And she wrote, a lot of times with celebrities, they write their memoirs, but she wrote a historical fiction novel.
Yeah.
And I'm just really excited to read it. So in 1942, an air raid sirens continue to wail around London. 18-year-old Nellie Morris counts every day lucky that she emerges from the underground shelters unharmed, her loving family around her. After a chance encounter with Ray, an American airman stationed nearby, Nellie becomes enchanted with the idea of a broader world. Just when Nellie begins to embrace an exciting new life with Ray, a terrible incident occurs during an air raid one evening, tearing Nellie's world apart. But just when it seems all hope is lost, Nellie finds that against all odds, love and happiness can triumph. And it says that 19 Steps is a deeply affecting, mesmerizing page-turner, inspired by the author's family history.
And so it's already out.
It is already out.
Okay.
And I think it just sounds, it's been several years since I've read historical fiction, and I think I got bored with them because, there is no end to the heroism, honestly, of World War II. But at the same time, they all just started feeling the same. Mm-hmm. So I think this will be fun to go back into historical fiction. And I'm just fascinated because it's the little shaved head girl from Stranger Things. And, and she wrote historical fiction in her spare time.
Yeah, you'll have to let us know if that one's good.
I think it sounds like it will be. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. My next one is really strange, and it's another one. I have no idea how I heard about it, but it came out in June. It's somebody's debut novel, and it's called On Earth as It Is on Television by Emily Jane. And I
think I've actually heard of this.
Have you?
Yes, I think. Let me look up.
And the whole concept of the book is it's different people. Okay, so spaceships arrive and then they depart suddenly without a word. Like, I don't think there's any incident. But now we all know that aliens exist. So it's just like all these different people's stories, like how, like them coming to terms with that. And it's like, now that we know this is real, how does it affect us? Even if they didn't do anything this time,
Right.
like if nothing changed, but our entire world is different and bigger than we thought it was. So, and like, how do we think about life differently now? So it's just several characters dealing with that. What have you heard about it?
I've only seen the cover. Yeah.
Okay.
I've heard the title and the cover. I haven't even heard a synopsis.
Okay.
So, yeah. Oh,
On
that sounds
Earth as
fun.
It Is on Television by Emily Jane. And honestly, the title grabbed me. There's a couple of books lately where the titles have been so good. I'm like, I have to at least see what this is about.
Oh, that's a good title.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, what's your next one?
All right. So, I love T. Kingfisher, and T. Kingfisher is a pen name. She's actually also like a children's author, but this is her adult name, T. Kingfisher. This one I think is actually considered cozy horror.
Oh,
Is that a thing?
I don't know. Is that a thing I need to read?
I don't know. So let me look it up so that I know what I'm telling you. T. Kingfisher. It's Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. Okay. And the cover's like really, really pretty.
Yeah. It came out in 2022. is what I was seeing. Okay.
Okay, so after years of seeing her sisters suffer at the hands of an abusive prince, Mara, the shy, convent-raised third-born daughter, has finally realized that no one's coming to their rescue. No one except for Mara herself. Seeking help from a powerful grave witch, Mara is offered the tools to kill a prince if she can complete 3 impossible tasks. But as is the ways in tales of princes, witches, and daughters, the impossible is only the beginning. On her quest, Mara is joined by the grave witch, a reluctant fairy godmother. This isn't horror. No.
Okay.
I think this sounds like her typical cozy fantasy. Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. There's a chicken possessed by a demon in it. There's always something kind of like crazy, like wildly. Yeah. So there's my daughter's over there cracking up. A chicken possessed by a demon. I forgot about that. She always includes some sort of element that's just like crazy like that. Okay. Maybe I'll learn to crochet and make a chicken. Okay.
Make a dagger for a chicken.
Together, the 5 of them intend to be the hand that closes around the throat of the prince and frees Mara's family and their kingdom. Okay. So her books, to me, loosely resemble Dungeons and Dragons, which I guess a lot of fantasy books probably do. There's like this like ragtag group of people that you would never think would be able to accomplish what they accomplish, and they're usually setting out on some sort of journey. And it usually it's low consequent, low stakes, but they still have to defeat something in her books. And it's kind of, I don't know, it just makes me think of the quests in Dungeons and Dragons, like how her books feel. That whole little hero's journey. And so there's usually, but it's always the underdogs, like the least likely in her books to be able to accomplish whatever it is they need to accomplish. Obviously, a chicken possessed by a demon. So, yeah. Okay. But I read one of her books this past summer, and I like sobbed. So I know, like, you get very attached to her characters. She writes very well developed characters, and you grow to like really love them.
Get really attached to them.
You get really attached to her characters. That's been my experience. Okay. She knows how to write them.
And what's the name of this one?
Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher.
Okay.
I haven't read a T. Kingfisher I didn't like yet.
Okay. That's a good endorsement. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, my next book is a YA novel that came out in February. And honestly, the cover is what drew me to it, like, and really made me like investigate it. And then it turned out to be exactly my kind of book. It's called She is a Haunting by Trang, Tran. And there's a lot going on. So I literally just have the Amazon description, but it's about a girl named Jade, and she goes to Vietnam to visit her father. And he's in this big creepy house. And night after night, this is so terrifying to me, Jade wakes up paralyzed. The walls exude a thrumming sound while bugs leave their legs and feelers in places they don't belong. She finds curious traces of her ancestors in the gardens they once tended. And at night, Jade can't ignore the ghost of the beautiful bride who leaves cryptic warnings. Don't eat. So the house is trying to like kill her and her sister and her dad. And it's up to Jade to figure out how and why and how to save them.
This is like horror.
Yes,
this would be horror.
Yeah, the cover is.
I'm looking at. Yeah, I pulled up the cover. I have seen this one. I thought it was exactly what I imagined because I've seen this one.
It's reviewed really well too.
Fiction. It says gothic fiction, ghost stories. Yeah, it's been reviewed very well. I agree. Oh,
so I may. I don't know. I guess that's not really a palate cleanser, but I may try to.
No, I wouldn't call that a palate cleanser.
I don't know. I want to read it around Christmas, so I'm going to try to get it read maybe in October.
Yeah, that's a good October book.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me think of this book I read by Grady Hendrix last year, and it was like a spoof of an IKEA store,
horror store.
Horror store.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
Called?
And the store is like trying to. There's like. It's like trying to kill its employees, kind of. It was crazy.
I didn't know you read anything by him.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh,
I got scared, but I was so.
You just like the IKEA of it all.
I did. I was like, because I love IKEA. Like I joke and tell my kids, like, take my ashes to IKEA when I die. So she's looking at me, but I love IKEA. It's like my Disney World. So this has been so fun. I do love IKEA, and that was why I was attracted to the book for that element, but it was kind of scary for me, even though it was. I don't think a horror reader would think it was scary.
Okay,
it was like a spoof of scary almost.
Okay,
but it scared me. So there's another one. It's not on my TBR, but if you like horror, I think that's how Grady Hendrix books are, though. I don't think they're intended to be actually scary. They're like satirically
yes, you're
scary.
right. Because I have one of his I haven't read yet, but I think it's My Best Friend's Exorcism.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like the cover is like a riff on the old.
Right. It plays off of other
like
things.
80s horror and stuff. And he wrote Paperbacks from Hell. It took me a minute. Where he goes through and like those pulp horror paperbacks that like I was just totally obsessed with in the 80s, but not allowed to read. Like he reviews those and it's kind of funny.
Yeah. So I think that's how all his books are. Like they're fake horror.
Yeah. That's probably a good way to describe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your last TBR for this episode?
My last, and I've talked about this already on like others, but I still haven't gotten to it. I won this book on Goodreads on a giveaway. I enter every single giveaway that I go through like once a week in their giveaways and just like enter for like every single book. And I won. And it is Upper YA. It's Bring Me Your Midnight by Rachel Griffin. And I actually started it in September, and it's like I kind of just wasn't feeling it because it definitely it had a vibe that told me it needed to be a more autumn fall book, you know? So I'm looking up so I can make sure I tell it right. It's witches again. That's just my vibe, I guess, right now. Unless, I may get tired of witches and go way off on a tangent and read a bunch of romance instead. We'll see. So what I take from it, I'm not going to read all this, but she is in a coven and their powers have greatly diminished over the years because of where they live and their life circumstances. And she is in an arranged marriage almost with a powerful person in like their community government. And this marriage is supposed to help their coven's powers reignite, I guess. But I'm assuming either the marriage doesn't happen, someone else comes into the picture that's actually the way that helps their powers reemerge. I don't know. But it's
Sounds good.
The fate of their coven is lying in the hands of this upper teenage girl.
So you said it's like upper YA new adult.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I do
good.
think there's a little element of romance, but I don't think that's the main. I know that people who have read her books say it's very beautiful writing too. And it's very atmospheric, the way she writes. And so
The cover of it's very pretty.
isn't it pretty? Yes. She actually had 2 different covers, and one of them did not have the girl on it, and it had more, I don't know. I actually kind of wanted the one without the girl on it because it was also beautiful. I guess I could just get them both.
You could.
But I
You
won
probably
this one.
might.
I might. The one that you look up on Goodreads is the one I won, and it is beautiful. Yeah, I think it sounds like a very beautiful story.
Yeah.
My description I just now gave, I know, did not do it justice to what, because it's has a 4.10 on Goodreads, so
Yeah, that's good.
pretty good.
Yeah, we'll have to discuss it after you finish it too, because I want to hear.
Yeah, I'm
That's
excited about it. Rachel Griffin, and she actually, like, I love when authors respond to their reviewers, you know?
Mhm.
I mean, she has like 50,000 followers or something, and yet she responds to reviews and messages and stuff. And I just love that. And she does.
That's nice.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
She's very, very, she communicates a lot with her reviewers and readers.
Awesome.
So, and her on Instagram, if anyone wants to follow her, it's Times New Rachel.
Oh, that's a good name.
Yep.
That's a great name.
Yep. So,
Okay. So last book of the podcast, I saved this one for last. I'm super excited about this one. It came out in July, and it's called The Librarianist by Patrick deWitt.
does it have a library card thing on the front?
Yes.
Yes, I have seen
Yeah.
that one. Yes.
And it is about Bob Comet, who is a retired librarian. He's in his 70s, and he's at the supermarket, and he sees a confused, like, elderly woman, and she's lost. So he helps her and takes her back to her senior center. And then as things go on, he starts volunteering there. And then as he's volunteering there, apparently, like, his life story comes out, like, as he's working with, like, the different people who live there. And he's like this introvert who's lived this really big life. So, and you find out, like, what led him to be a librarian. It sounds a lot to me like, do you remember the book or the movie Big Fish?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's like he like, what am I trying to say? Like, strange people and underdogs kind of gravitate toward him,
Yeah.
and they impact his life. So it's like kind of how he's where he's at, and
Yeah.
he's influenced.
So
him
he's
along the
looking
way.
back.
He's looking back, and I
Okay.
think he might be telling his story to the people, to the residents of this
Oh,
of this senior center.
This
And I
sounds
may be
so
completely
good.
wrong, but that's what I gathered from the synopsis. So, and that is The Librarianist by Patrick deWitt.
Jamie, your TBR sounds way better than my TBR.
No, no. It's just different. It's just
Oh,
different.
it
We read
sounds
different
so
things.
good.
And I mean, and honestly, this is what I do. Like, I have to
I'm gonna-
keep up with this stuff. So,
I should challenge you to read one off my TBR and I read one off your TBR.
you know, I thought about that after telling you about Sedona's book club last
Mhm.
episode, how fun it would be if we assigned each other.
Yeah, that would be
Books.
fun. But please don't assign a horror.
Yeah, and don't make me read fan fiction. I want mine to be an actual book. Not that fan fiction isn't a book, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I need to hold it or hear it. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to have to go to www.
And read off
Something.
a website.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. I got you. Girl.
Okay. And I'm not saying that is, I'm looking at her daughter like, I'm so sorry. I promise. Like fan fiction is a thing. And it's,
You want a physical book you can hold in your hand.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. And also too, you think about, like, I have to recommend books all the time. And
And
like, I
right.
couldn't imagine, like,
as a librarian saying, well, actually just look it up on a website. Yeah. You want it. Yeah. I get it.
Okay. Awesome. We should do that. That'll be fun. Let's do that. Once I catch up with my Goodreads and get all of my stuff. I've been reading all year finished. Well, let's assign each other stuff, and I want to assign you anything scary. You know,
I'm going to give a quick plug. So I don't know if I don't know when we're going to open. It's still a construction zone, but our little town is getting its very first independent bookstore.
Exciting.
And do you know this?
Yes.
Okay. And I was hired as the store manager. Do you know this?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a slow process because the construction is, our town has a lot of laws and they keep having, lots of inspections. So we hope to be open by December.
Oh, just in time for Christmas.
So you are giving me so many ideas of things to stock and stuff.
Put on the shelves.
Yes. I'm so excited about that.
I can't wait to visit. It's going to be, I think it's going to be such a fun place too.
I do too. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
And we can, as you get closer to opening, I'm sure like you'll, listeners we'll keep them up to date on the Check Your Shelf Instagram and stuff in case there's anybody in that area of Alabama who might want to visit and support an independent bookstore. They're so hard to come by these days.
I know. And I mean, we have a very quaint little downtown. And why has there never been an independent bookstore?
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So yeah. So you've given me a lot of things to be thinking about for buying and stocking.
Awesome.
It's exciting. More than fantasy and romance.
Okay, well, I guess we'll wrap this up then. I don't even know what we're doing. We've got so much coming, like as far as like special episodes.
All this Fourth Wing stuff. We're so excited about the Fourth Wing sequel.
We're dragging our kids into the podcast to give bookish gift suggestions for the holidays. I'm starting, I guess it's safe to announce it now, but there are going to be some bonus episodes. I've always wanted to do like a Stephen King book club. And so we're just I'm having some friends, not Jennifer. She absolutely wanted nothing to do with this. Read a Stephen King book. And then we get together and we're going to discuss it and release it as a podcast. My friend Laura Cynical is going to come on and we're going to talk about Carrie, which is Stephen King's first book. And she has daughters. She has one teenage daughter, who's she's still, she's got, the other two were older, but that's just going to be a fun perspective for two moms to talk about that book Carrie. After having read it, like as a teenager and now revisiting it as an adult. So, but yeah, so we've got to just keep an eye on our social media that is now completely functional. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm trying. See what's coming up. And you can always check out the alabamatake.com to see what else we've got going on. But until next time, thank you for listening and we will see you then.
Thank you.